Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. He can join us when he get here. You ready? I call this workshop meeting of Tuesday, December the 8th, 2020 to order at 6:06 p.m. May we please stand for the invocation provided by Vice Mayor Mervin, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Let him get this.
Father God in heaven, oh God, we come before you this afternoon, God, to say thank you. Thank you for another day, God, that you have allowed us, oh God, to be a part of. God, as we come together today, God, to come to govern the city of Pahokee, I ask, God, that you would be with us, God, and that you would guide us, oh God, and you give us direction. Oh God, that you would help us, oh God, to make the right decisions for this city, oh God. God, we want to thank you, oh God, for each one of our commissioners, our mayors, our city staff, oh God. God, we give your name the praise, the honor, and the glory as we look to you, God, from which all our help comes from. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Let's allow Commissioner Eric. Let's allow him to come up.
Oh, sorry.
Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Rapp,
Present.
Commissioner Bowling. Here. Commissioner Everett,
Present.
Commissioner Hill, Vice Mayor Mervin,
Present.
City Manager,
Present.
City Attorney,
Here.
Commissioner City here.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Thank you, staff. Thank you, commissioners. And thank each of our listening public for participating in our workshop of Tuesday, December the 8th, 2020.
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
in regards to Commissioner Hill, received word that she's in quarantine. So let's keep her in our thoughts and prayers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have our city attorney participating by telephone conference. Our meeting is being live streamed to the public. There's no public attendance at this time due to COVID. At this time, I'll turn this portion over to our city manager to lead us in the topics for our today's agenda.
Thank you, Mayor, Commission. Thanks for coming out tonight. Those who are watching via audio, video, thank you for participating in this meeting tonight at this time of the year. So I know it's been a very difficult year for most, but coming to an end. Mayor, Commission, tonight for discussion, we have 3 items on the agenda. One is the 2020-33 resolution for the interlocal agreement, Solid Waste Authority. I believe this is our 4th year in a row that we received an interlocal agreement from Solid Waste Authority for demolition. And we're going to speak about some of those projects that we wrapped up here in Pahokee just this year. But this provides an opportunity to get additional money, where it's been awarded to the city of Pahokee for another demolition over at Commissioner's Park, an old structure that's connected to adjacent to the park, and clearing of all the vegetation over there. So 4th year in a row that we've received that award from the county, and that speaks to this relationship, the administration, the elected officials have with Palm Beach County, and the trust that they put in us to execute these demolition projects. And we've done pretty good with these execution of these projects and turning them over and completing them. And they've recognized that by continuing to fund our requests on an annual basis. Resolution 2020-34 is a bonus policy that we are establishing here in the city of Pahokee. We know that is one of requirements when one of our external agencies would require us to do. And so we want to put that in place moving forward to ensure that we're in compliance when we're doing any type of bonus to our employees. And we have a public hearing, Resolution 2020-35. We're just ratifying tonight the ZAP Board's decision to rezone the area at 200 Barfield Highway. As you are aware, in 2019, you agreed to, with a developer, to sell that property for affordable rental. And the ZAP Board agreed to amend the area of 200 Barfield Highway for housing, and so that was good. And so tonight you have an opportunity to ratify their decision tonight and move that decision forward. Hopefully, in getting 2021, we'll be completing the sale of that property to that developer as well.
A question with regards to Resolution 2020-34. Is this the same resolution that we received?
No, I
via
sent
email?
we sent the policy back out around about 1 o'clock. We wanted to clarify some language in the document, and there was one definition that was missing, and so we resent it back out earlier this afternoon. You have that revision in your packet.
Okay, because I see this one, but the one that I was that I looked at, I maybe was looking at the one from Sunday.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It had one thing in there that I had a question about.
Yeah. I think I knew what your question was, and that's why there was some clarification. I've sort of read the tea leaves on some things today. But to be clear, this is a bonus policy for our employees for the city of Pahokee, not for one specific person.
Okay, and when I read the previous one, I understood from, I guess, my reading and understanding that it wasn't geared toward one person.
Exactly.
But it did include, well, address the elephant in the room, it did include the city manager in the bonus.
Right.
So when you say there were changes, is that the change? Was that one of the changes made?
Well, we added a definition at the top of the policy. The city commission wasn't defining the definition. So you have city commission means the elected body of the city of Pahokee. And then in the asterisk, the city manager shall be considered an employee eligible for a bonus, but the determination as to whether the city manager receives a bonus shall remain within the sole discretion of the city commission.
Now,
That's
where
it.
you reading that at?
That's on the second page.
In the asterisk.
Okay.
And also, we want to add in there, in the evaluation period, that the employees will be notified that the evaluation period will begin for bonuses. That was missing as well in the evaluation period section. So we're going to add one sentence in there as well, that the employees will be informed when the evaluation period for bonuses will begin.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
Okay, I don't, I'm not sure, I'm trying to pull what Chandler said he sent earlier today. I haven't seen that document, I'm trying to pull it now. And I did let Chandler know before the meeting, what he sent over is not compliant with the law in that, not only do, the folks have to be notified, it says notify all and I'm looking specifically at section 215.425, which talks about notifying all employees of the of the policy, ordinance, rule, or the resolution before the beginning of the evaluation period. And it also has a provision that talks about all employees have to be considered for it. So in the one that I see, and it looks like the one that I just pulled up is maybe executive employees or something, but in the one that I prepared, it had all employees because that's what the statute requires. So
Still says
whatever
that.
changes.
It still says that.
Williamson, I'm sorry?
It still says that.
Okay, well, what I see in the one that I saw from, I guess from earlier is it says full-time employees. And so I don't think we can limit it like that under the statute. It really does need to be all employees. Now, it doesn't mean that all employees will be given a bonus. It just means that they have to be considered for a bonus. So the statute is very clear, and so I just want to make sure that when the commission is talking about amending it, we're all on the same page.
Yeah,
Right.
I have that also noted to add part-time in there because it did
If
stay
you look
on
at your attachment
We're
includes
talking about
part-time.
the Exhibition
But put it
A
in
right in
the-
front
put
of
it in
us,
the-
the first
the policy.
paragraph on the B. Employee means all city of Pahokee full-time employees. So if
Yeah, we
you
can
got
add part-time.
anything, huh?
Yeah, I see that. You can add
Okay,
part-time.
yeah, we're gonna clear that up.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah, also,
Can I say something, just to finish my portion real quick? And this is me speaking to the office and not the person. So I want to make that abundantly clear. Why would the city manager be included in bonuses? And just my position.
okay,
Because he or she is the only person that comes to the city and negotiates their contract, get car, and all of that. Why would we take from full-time, part-time employees bonus to give to the city manager?
I don't think you're taking away.
A package.
yeah.
And I'm speaking not to Mr. Williamson or city managers past or present or future. I'm speaking to the position and the office. Why would that be included?
I have a question. As a charter officer, doesn't that make them different? That would be the city clerk, the city attorney, and the city manager, all charter officers, as opposed to regular employees, correct?
Yeah.
But that's not the,
Yeah.
I'll yield
ahead,
to the
Mr.
city
Mayor.
attorney.
Yes, city attorney.
Yeah, so the manager is an employee of the city. So just want to be clear, he's an employee, and I guess so with your city clerk. They're both employees of the city. So, but his document does say that the city commission, the city manager receives a bonus. It says the determination as to whether the city manager receives a bonus shall remain within the sole discretion of the city commission. So you're not necessarily giving him a bonus unless you approve to do that. So this doesn't happen, at least my reading of this, automatically.
Correct.
Correct.
Well, I just want to be clear. I'm well aware. I don't want to get bogged down in semantics and words. I'm well aware that he's an employee, ultimately of the city. I guess we bring our experiences to the table, and I guess with my experience, and I'm speaking of education school district, your CEO, your superintendent, when we talk about raises, and I can be wrong, it's dealing with employees and not, because he or she has a separate package from, what your general employees have. I would think those kind of things, bonuses and all of that, would be separate and apart from this policy, or am I wrong, attorney?
you know, it's up to you all. You could either, this is your policy, so if you wanted to exempt that, you could. But there's some language in here. It's however you all want to treat it, because basically it still has to come to you either way. Whether he, and normally, you know, if he's under a contract, you might consider that that's the contract, and if you make any amendments to the contract, you do it through the contract process, which would be, you know, bringing up the contract and putting that in the contract. That you could certainly take that would be a valid position. But if you accept this policy as it's written, it leaves you the discretion to do it, or you could take it out and then automatically it would be a part of, you know, he would have to be considered through an amendment to the contract.
I'm comfortable with the language in there because it clearly states that it's going to be up to the commission, and we're not looking at this particular city manager or any other one, just in general. It's up to the city commission whether or not they would approve a bonus for him or her. One thing you have to look at, he's a employee like all the other employees, and sometimes we're not going to be able to give the city manager an annual raise. So that bonus sometimes could compensate a little increase in salary during that particular year for a city manager. So I'm comfortable. I don't think at this time, I'm not going to go into how we're going to vote, but I'm certainly not comfortable this year in giving a bonus to the city manager. But I'm glad the language is in there to give the opportunity, because a city manager can do something outstanding during that particular year that we want to reward he or her with some additional compensation. But
I'm going to just state my position, and I know we are not making a vote. Me personally, I think it should be separate. That's just my opinion. I think it should be separate because that's where I feel negotiation dealings take place. That within the contract, you know, there should be some language to say, hey, based on performances over and beyond job, or however you want to term it, a ding it, you know. That's how I would look at it.
I have
But
a
wouldn't
question.
you not do that differently anyway? Because here it's saying that it's together but separate. Like you're not, even though you're approving this for the employees, you actually not really approving it for the city manager. But it has to come back to you anyway, separate to approve it for the city manager.
Okay, but
So it's almost like it's together but separate.
if the city manager is deciding who gets a bonus and how much, and you have a set amount, then do we, let's say you were going to give somebody a bonus, the city manager, whoever it was, does that happen before the others? Does it happen with what's left? What's the logistics of how that actually works?
That's actually a really good question. Thanks, Commissioner Boland. And that's why I want to refer back to the attachment. That amount that we've set aside, that's the final amount. And I'm saying that because I don't want a bonus, and I discourage you from approving a bonus for me. And so that amount you see there is the final amount for this bonus structure for the payout.
So we
I'm not
should just
seeking a
take it
bonus,
out.
but I think the language needs to be there for future, for whoever sits in this seat, you know, long term. But I think the language needs to be there, but I'm not seeking a bonus. I don't want a bonus. So the money that you see there set aside is for the full and part-time employees. So I hope that helps answer the question. But I agree with the mayor. I think the language should stay there because it's ultimately up to you at your discretion whether a city manager gets a bonus. And maybe we needing to go back, Commissioner Everett, and maybe look at the contractual side in the future and put that language in the contract in the future. But for this particular instance, I'm not seeking a bonus. I don't want a bonus. The money that's set aside is for our full-time and part-time employees, and that won't change. But I do agree with the mayor that the language, it should be there, unless you want to take it out and put it in a contract.
Yeah.
So it's at your pleasure.
yeah.
But it's just a policy. It's just a policy.
All right.
I know right now we're in the fourth quarter as far as language, but I really would have liked to see this with some doable and measurable goals set towards the bonuses. Also,
Because some of this stuff is subjective.
just minimum satisfactory performance, annual performance, no excessive call in or call off for absentees or tardiness. Something that an employee would know at the end of the year when we decide the years we're giving bonus, that they can almost dictate themselves, I'm eligible.
Yeah.
But to put in attitude and
that's-
teamwork and
Yeah.
leadership, I know that those are areas and parameters you can look and judge, but it's subjected. And not only that, I would like to see a bonus structure where it's a set amount. If you gave a bonus, say for instance, the directors, $400, the general employees, $300, and part-time, $250. I don't want one individual decided, I'm not saying this would happen, but I like this particular employee,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna give them the
Give him more
maximum
money.
here, $700.
And
I'm gonna
that's
give
not a
you
poli-
$200. So to me, I'm a little weary of how this would be structured, and even if the final amount should be approved by, again, the commission. So one individual is not handing or doling out money based on, I know you have the directors involved in the evaluation, but still, you're the ultimately person decide based on the amount overall, and I'm just a
Well-
little weary of that.
Well,
Yeah, you're gonna have arguments.
I'm the guy that signs off on it at the end of the day, but all of those aspects that you see in qualifications, it comes from their annual evaluation. All of those aspects are pulled out from their annual evaluation. They're just not detailed on exactly what they are. But all of those aspects in the policy, we pull those things from their annual evaluation and listed it. And so each employee every year gets an annual evaluation throughout the year. I'm not doing them. The director and supervisors are doing them. I just put my signature at the bottom and agree with what the director says.
Yeah,
But one of the things I'm
it's-
gonna say, how do you measure attitude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you?
How do you measure that? Because I wrote a rebuttal to a evaluation or write-up that I received in past about my body language.
Let me read you one of the official employee performance evaluation aspects that we measure. It's called interpersonal effectiveness. Maintains effective working relationships, handles conflict well, presents ideas effectively. That's just one of the aspects on our annual evaluation form for each employee. So we'll be looking at this evaluation form as well as part of that process, not me independently, but the directors, the supervisors for each of their employees in their departments. So again, that's just the listing, but we pull that listing from their annual evaluation. And
But what I'm saying, city manager, I understand that part of it, that process for the overall annual performance. That's why when you do an annual, you still got satisfactory meet job requirement. In your measurement, that should be one of the bullet points. You don't need to list attitude until that's already involved in the annual.
can
So
take that
just
out. I
say,
mean-
I'm just saying, it'll be more simpler to say, to be qualified for a bonus, you must at least have met
This.
your job requirement, minimum satisfactory job performance. That way, when an employee look at it for that year, he or she know if they hadn't met the minimum performance on the annual evaluation, they're not eligible for a particular bonus this particular year. And that's measurable. No major disciplinary action during a 12-month period. That's measurable. You can't argue and debate that. If you got a disciplinary action and you got suspended or was a major infraction, you're going to be disqualified for that particular year. Absentees frequency of not being on the job. I'm not talking about regular sick that you would do in 3-4 weeks of sick during the year or your annual vacation time. I'm talking about something assessed that. So what I'm saying, when an employee at the end of the year, it's really easy for them to know I didn't get screwed out of my bonus because I met the minimum, the basics that would be qualify me for a bonus. And I'm not saying we can change all that in this language, but it need to be doable and it need to be measurable And at the end of the year, the employee, prior
already
to
know.
even the evaluation, they should already know whether or not.
Yeah.
And
they were
honestly,
gonna get a
most of them
bonus.
right now do know.
Huh?
Most of them right now do know because their annual evaluation, it kind of spells out in plain language their annual
I
performance
guarantee
over
if
the
you
last
gave
11
this
months.
employee reading it, I'm
not
not
talking about
there,
the
and I
bonus
couldn't, I
structure.
couldn't tell
I'm
who would be
referencing their annual
qualified.
evaluation form.
Yeah.
For the most part, everyone has gotten their annual evaluation for the year now. We're done. So for the most part, they got a copy of their annual evaluation. So they know where their performance is over this last 11 months for the most part. Now, they may not know exactly what their bonus is going to look like, but they know
But they should.
they know now
That's-
they qualify for one.
That's part of it. They should know exactly what bonus they're going after. Is it going to be this amount of money? Okay, then I put out this amount of effort because I really want that
Well, you
bonus.
probably
But you
can't
don't know
really tell
that.
how
but
much money
you
they
don't know
give
that
because of the
until
budget.
budget year. You don't know that
So
until
you probably have the
September.
amount of money,
Right,
but
but-
it
Yeah.
should,
You don't know that
It
until
should be a
September.
set amount because all you're going to do is create
Well, you can't set them
animosity
amount.
between the employees because
here's
if
why you
this
can't
one
do
gets
that.
this and this one gets that and they're both doing the same job,
Well, you
but
can't
one's
set a
getting a
set
lot more
amount.
money, you're going to have problems.
But you can't, this is not corporate America. You can't set an amount because we're in COVID this year and we had budget restraints. So we can't say, oh, well, next year we're going to have $50,000 in bonuses.
It
We
says
don't know
right
that.
here, if we don't have it, we aren't going to do it.
Correct.
So
you
you
can't set
set the
amounts.
amount every year.
Look,
I agree with that. And
But to
internally,
just
we do
allow
have-
somebody to-
Internally, we do have some idea what these amounts will be, what the max is, what the minimum is.
No, I'm saying
but
I don't
it's hard to
agree
set
with that at all. It should be a certain amount based on, this is your job, this is the job that qualifies for this amount of bonus this year.
Depending on your budget.
If you're the director, if you're whatever, then you have a different one, but
Right.
this,
And-
everybody at this pay level or everybody at this job gets to qualify for this amount of bonus.
And Commissioner Boland, we have that internally set. It doesn't
No,
say
that's not what
here.
this says.
Right, exactly, because again, this amount of money was very fluid.
It
About
doesn't make any
30,
difference if the
about
amount
30
of money is fluid or not. I'm saying to have it just, you pick and choose who gets what, no.
No, I'm not doing that. That's, again.
Yes, it
we have
is.
an
That's what this
we have
says.
an internal set amount that we're gonna be looking at, but this is the first time we've done this policy,
That's
and so
right.
we
That's
didn't
why we have
exactly
to set it
know
correctly.
Exactly how much money would be available, because we just got an influx of money, 60 days ago? 60 days before that, there was no discussion of bonus, because we didn't have it. So, yeah, we
That
probably could
point
set
has nothing to do
bonuses
with the point
at a
I'm trying to make.
Specified amount, but you have to go on what's available in your budget at the time. And at the time, we had no idea that we would have any money coming forward for a bonus.
Mr.
okay,
Williamson.
we have exceeded our time allotted for our workshop, and I would like for us to, we're going to join our workshop, and then in 2 minutes, we're going to reconvene for our regular city commission meeting. I'll just get a informal yea or nay. Everyone ready to begin?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You ready, IT? Thank you. I call this City Commission of the City of Pahokee regular commission meeting of Tuesday, December the 8th, 2020, to order at 6:36 p.m. May we please stand for the invocation given by Commissioner Everett, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Shall we pray? Father in heaven, we come thanking you for this opportunity to transact the business of this city. We pray, God, that you would give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to do what is in the best interest of this city. So, God, while we may not always unanimously agree, help us to work together collectively as a unit to do what is best for our city at this time. So, God, we just ask that you would be honored and pleased with the decision-making on this evening. And we ask it all in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Hancock,
Present.
Commissioner Bowman,
Present.
Commissioner Everett,
Here.
Commissioner Hill, Vice Mayor Mervin,
Present.
City Manager,
Here.
City Attorney,
Here.
Interim City Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, staff. And thank each of our listening public for participating in our regular scheduled commission meeting of Tuesday, December the 8th, 2020. This meeting is being streamed live by YouTube. There is no public access to the meeting due to COVID. We have our commissioners here present. Commissioner Hill is in the hospital in isolation.
Not
We
hospital, just home, isn't it? I don't think the hospital, I think she's just in isolation.
Okay. We have our attorney on the telephone, and we have our sergeant at arms here from the Palm Beach County Sheriff Department. Again, thank you for your participation. We're going to move right along with our agenda as printed. First item and first business on the agenda is the additions, deletions, and approval of the agenda item. City Manager, at this time, have there been any addition to the agenda being presented?
Yes, Mayor, I want to add the status of the city clerk to new business. That's all for additions and deletions, Mayor.
Okay. And if I could,
Yeah,
I
I
will.
have one. I noticed last year, I know around this time, Christmas time, we took the second meeting in December off due to some people be going out of town for Christmas. So I would like to add, I forgot what day it is. I think December 22nd is the next commission meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna, you're asking for a
consideration.
voter consideration to have that meeting canceled?
Yes, for
Okay. December 22nd. That is the correct date, right?
yes.
Okay, great.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I do recall in a past meeting that we were given the city manager's contract, and it never came back. Because I know one of the questions I had was the original with the attached addendum to be added.
Okay, so what we can do on that particular item, on the future agenda item, we would more than likely want to request that to be on our next agenda,
But can
which
we-
would be in the,
So we're not we're not allowed to add it under addition?
for tonight. I don't think everybody, no one have that contract in hand to probably go over it. I'm not sure if we have it. Everybody have that particular contract?
But we had one given to us.
I understand, right, but I'm talking about for us, if we add it tonight for discussion and we don't have the
And
document
it
to
was a
look at.
directive to bring back because I had a question of it being revised.
Mhm.
But we didn't have the addendum attached to the original contract,
Correct.
okay? So,
I don't have that information with me, so.
Yeah, what I'm saying tonight,
Put it on
though,
future agenda.
Commissioner Everett, I don't think no one, you may have it, but I don't think no other commission have it to look at it, to discuss it, to add or detract from it. I think it's a great idea, we should address that, but I don't think we have it in hand to be able to do it.
Putting that on the future agenda.
Yeah, I'm almost sure we can do that at the beginning of at our next meeting, make sure we have that contract, the addendum, and that will be a agenda item that we will take on to discuss. If anyone's seeing it differently, that it can be addressed, and I'll certainly entertain it, but I don't see how we could accomplish it tonight, though. Okay. Hearing no, just want to make sure we add that, but hearing no additional agenda items.
but I will like
Go
to
ahead.
say this is not as if this is a new conversation that we have entertained. This is a conversation that we've had because it was on the agenda for.
Know about it, and you have one person who responded, that person ought to be able to deal with it. Now, is it something that is time sensitive, this issue that you have, the change in zoning?
They're going to give you a quick answer. They're discussing it. She's asking a question.
If it's not approved tonight, according to.
Speak into your mic there so she can hear you.
He said, we're good now. He said, we're good now.
Okay, great.
Yeah, he said, we're good now.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said, we're
We're
good
back
now.
live,
Mention the schedule when you
city
have to
attorney.
approve it. Okay.
Very
Thank you.
good. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, but we still do need to reach out to that person. Is that, Chandler, is that someone you can call, or the city
Yes.
clerk can call on the cell phone?
Yes,
And,
yes,
okay,
I'm
great.
gonna
I
call
think
him.
we,
I'm gonna
you know,
call him from my,
once we get to that issue.
yeah, I'm gonna call him from here. We'll keep you on the phone.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Where we at, y'all?
I think we were
We done
approving.
did, okay, we done approved we got everything. We done
We're
did
at
the
public
two
hearing,
resolutions.
aren't we?
Huh?
We're at public hearing now.
Yes, right. Okay, now we'll move into our public hearing. We're gonna have our city attorney read resolution 2020-35 for the records.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, granting a change in zoning designation of the property located at 200 South Barfield Highway, Pahokee, Florida, from public facilities, PF, to multifamily residential medium density, MF-18, authorizing the amendment of the official zoning map of the City of Pahokee to reflect said rezoning, providing for adoption of representations, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney.
Mary, did we vote?
Vote on what? Yes, we voted on that. We even
And the
voted on the
amount?
maximum ceiling. That was the resolution we voted on.
Okay.
You're referring to 2020-34, right? Yeah, we took care of that. City Manager, at this time, could you give us a brief explanation of Resolution 2020-35?
Yes, Mayor. This 2020-35 is, we are approving what the ZAP Board has already recommended and approved in their meeting of rezoning 200 Barfield Highway for housing. As you know, before this, the old hospital, a medical district, medical area where our old hospital existed, where Blaze Healthcare Center currently is. We have a developer that we pre-approved to sell to last year once we demolish the property, in the interim, the owner, which is the city, must rezone the property for residential. So essentially,
Okay.
this is what.
I got you. This is the attorney, go ahead, you accidentally hung
No,
up.
she's. Oh, so essentially, we're ratifying what the ZAP board has already approved for rezoning for this area.
Thank you. At this time, I would open the public hearing on Resolution 2020-35. And at this time, I will ask any residents who want to speak on this resolution, you can do so now. The city manager has contacted the sole resident that have requested comments on this particular resolution and public hearing.
Mayor, we have Mr. Hurt on the line for public comment. Mr. Hurt?
Hey Chandler, the only person I can hear is you, but I'm sure you guys can hear me. My only question all along has been for the past 2 years, if you look back at the surveys and when the hospital over 20 years ago went away, we had, some kind of verbal agreement for a long time, and more recently to have access to that road, because all our utilities, generator, all our deliveries all come on that adjoining 20 feet between the two buildings, but we have nothing in writing with any kind of easement or agreement, and I'm asking politely, because we want to be a great neighbor to whatever is going on with the property, because I really don't know, but I really wanted to go on record to say I really need to sit down with someone and talk about that I guess alleyway between the two and access, because of all of our back of the property utilities, and especially working with the state recently on our new hurricane generator, which has to have certain kind of access. So I'm just wanting to go on record to say I would like for someone that's the proper authority in Chandler could direct them my way to sit down with me, and let's talk about that with the new property owners and whatever you're doing with the property. I don't know. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, Mayor. Mr. Hertz, thank you. I still got him on the line, but Mr. Hurt mentioned this previously. Yes, we're still here.
Okay, I don't need 3 minutes. That's all I really had to ask was what's the next step for us to get some comfort level with the new neighbor, whatever's going on with the property.
Okay, and I was answering that. I'm gonna keep you on the phone so you can hear what I have to say. Mr. Hurt indicated this previously to the city. I reached out to the developer to indicate what the concern was about that alleyway where they added a generator. They got their solid waste dumpsters back there and some equipment. I also went and I spoke directly. I spoke with the developer about this, and he understands that there has to be some type of easement. They don't want to take away all of the property, that road between the two properties. He needs that area, but he also understands that there has to be access to that area by Glaze Health Center. So he's willing to work with Glaze Health Center to ensure that when construction starts, that the area, there's portions of the area identified that they can keep and remain to have access to those areas. It's just something we have to sit down with the new owner and work out on how that's gonna fit for both owners on both sides of the street. So I don't think it's a big issue, but it's certainly something we have to take care of with the potential owner and with the Glaze Health Center. But it is something that has been mentioned. I've spoken about it briefly with the corporation, the developer, and they're looking at all avenues, and they do plan to sit down with Glaze Health Center and have that conversation.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, you say potential, so.
Well, not potential, but we have to work out an agreement with Glaze Health Center, and the developer is not, he's not adverse to that.
Okay. And so Glaze Healthcare can get that they're gonna get a commitment in writing?
Yes, yes.
You'll
Wouldn't
be
the easy
involved
thing
in-
to
you'll be involved in that conversation too, right? I mean.
Yes.
Okay, I just didn't
Yes.
want
And
you to
because-
just,
Wouldn't the easy thing to do to be give them an easement
Yes.
to that property?
Yeah, I just don't know how much of easement that they are requiring. As for, I know where their equipment is. I've been back there several times. And we got to get with the developer and see how much of that part that he needs as well and come up with a mutual agreement. We can give him an easement now, and it may interfere with what the developer needs on his side. So I think both parties need to sit down and really hash out
Agreement.
exactly what the easements should be on both sides.
I guess my only concern, and I can speak to this now, and I won't be accused of trying to save my job because I work with the school district of Palm Beach County. But I was always then and now looking at the fact that Glaze Healthcare Center for a long time has housed my relatives and others' relatives and is a big employer in the Glaze community.
Largest in Pahokee.
And so my issue would be is I feel like there needs to be a strong position that comes from the city to this developer. We understand the housing that we are getting out of this deal, but it needs to be also understood that this is a big employer in the Glaze community, and that they need to not, see if they can work or how they can work, but it definitely needs to be.
Should be a condition of the contract.
Hey, it needs to be
We
done.
And you can set that condition in the sale,
Yeah, that needs to
Yeah.
be done. That
Yeah.
don't need to. That doesn't need to be. We need to have a kumbaya session.
Right.
Well, I was just
Needs to
saying
be
that
set in
because
paper.
I don't know exactly how much, easement both parties need, and so, but we can certainly set that condition in the sale, that has to happen.
Yeah, that needs to. Yeah, that needs to be in there. Mr. Hurt can speak with state agency to see about, because I know that when I was working there as a social service director, I do know that there was issue with generator need to be relocated and all of that. You just need to sit there, get what they need, and just put that as a condition to say, hey, this needs to be done in order to move forward with the deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, there's no sale, because we're not going to put the largest employer in the city out of business, because they can't have a generator and they can't
'Cause
get
the state,
access to it.
that's non-negotiable
That
for
would
the
be
state.
crazy to do that.
Well, it was always from a city manager's perspective that the things they have, the equipment they have was not going to move. And they would be provided easements and access to that rear of the property. That was always my take.
Yeah.
And we just got to ensure that the developer who we're selling to understands that and is put in the writing. And they'll
Yeah,
agree
that
to
it's
it.
not an option. It's a contingency of the sale.
Sale. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now, Ms.
Okay.
Bola, now you speaking on it, but I was told I couldn't speak on it. Now you on the board now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
I forgot.
so I guess I'll refer it back to the city attorney now on the steps moving forward, because that sale is coming up fairly quickly. We've done with demolition now, so we'll start preparing to sell the property to this developer. So that's the language that would
Are
have
we
to come.
are we ever going to get to meet the developer? I
Yes.
mean, I thought they were coming in November, but I
Yeah, no,
didn't see them.
we're bringing them. We're going to try to bring them to the next meeting in person.
With some site plans and
Yes, ma'am.
some stuff?
They're
Okay.
actually, engineers are in the area, well, actually on the property doing some boring testing, et cetera. But that's the plan, to bring them to the next meeting.
Okay.
So I'll yield back to the city attorney now.
Okay, on the issue of,
Where's she at?
what are you yielding back on the issue
Oh,
of?
just back to the resolution for approval. I guess if there's anything else to talk about.
Not that I'm aware of. Normally.
Okay.
Well, yeah, okay.
having no further comments by any of the residents, I'm going to close
Wait, I have one more question. Can I ask
This
one more?
is I'm closing the public hearing.
okay,
Then we
I'm
need
sorry.
to have a second.
Okay.
Then you can ask your question.
Thank
Okay,
you.
great. I now close the public hearing. City Commissioners, we have had the resolution 2020-35 read into the minutes by our city attorney, properly explained by our city manager, and we have had a public hearing on it. At this time, I would entertain a motion for the adoption, if that's the pleasure of the city commission.
Mayor, I make a motion that we will accept resolution 2020-35.
Second.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner Everett for the adoption of Resolution 2020-35. Call for questions.
Okay.
Commissioner
No.
Bowden.
Yes, sir. My question is on this rezoning. Is this a condition of the option contract that we signed, that we pay for the rezoning? And if so, what does this cost us to do?
Can you say it again?
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's owned by the city, so the fee is waived.
Okay, so it doesn't cost us anything to do this?
That's
Okay,
correct, Madam.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Hearing
And
none?
just make sure that it's gonna be in the condition gonna be that the nursing home is gonna get the easement.
That's in the contract.
Condition for
That's in the
sale.
contract.
That'll go into when we have discussion for sale, that language will go in there. But I can make that real clear now that that's what is gonna be part of the agreement for sale. All right, Commissioner Bowler?
I'm good.
Okay.
Hearing no additional questions, are you ready for a vote?
Yes.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowden,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill, Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioner. Resolution 2020-35 passed by unanimous vote. Now we'll move to our next order of business is proclamation. We don't have any proclamation, no presentations. Report of the mayor. Just want a more of a question, city manager. The park, the public park, one of our highest amenities in the city, has been closed for almost a year now. We indicated in our last commission meeting that it would be open within a week or two. I can't determine exactly the time frame, but what is the status? And
You talking about, at the marina?
Yes.
On the north side? The electrician has been working the last 2 weeks, putting all the security lighting in. We had lights out there and it just stopped working. What he had to do is, he had to first, finish the project around the restaurant lighting over there. He's already wired it, so it should be operational by the end of this week, meaning the lighting, and we should open it up next week.
okay.
Yep.
And my second question, did we do any amenities, additional amenities out there when we were doing the renovation of the marina? Any provision, any tables, any additional?
You got 2 new big pavilions out there for family gatherings that are designed for family. You got the two small ones that were always there since the initial. But we added 2 large family pavilions that can hold up to 25, 30 people at once. You got 2 of those, one on the west side, one on the east side. Yeah.
And when
we're
will
looking
the-
at probably adding a third one in the future.
When would those be opened up to the public?
Same time, we open up everything in about a week. Everything will be open to the public. Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm gonna conclude my mayor's
How
report.
solid is that date?
It's, I want to say 10, from this date, it's about another 7 days we'll be done. The electrician will be done. Barring any weather or delays in his repairs, we should be done in 7 days.
And my question is, would that prevent, and I know 7 days, I mean, it's not that long in relationship to how long it's been closed, certainly, but is that prevented from being open? I don't know what type of work he's doing, other than electrical work, and whether or not that prevent anyone from having access out there, because they're not working every day, even if they had to be temporarily closed a day or two doing actual work, but I don't want to put anybody in harm's way also. So I'm just asking you, based on your knowledge of what being done, is it required that it be closed?
Not
We
necessarily.
need to open it.
Yeah.
It doesn't, because
It doesn't,
overall, you
okay.
remember, we had to close everything down for COVID. and-
Understood that.
And a lot of pavilions, and
It's
still in
time to
many
open
parts,
now.
are still closed, believe it or
most
not.
parts are definitely
So,
closed.
you know, we were just following along with all the other municipalities. Most municipalities have their parks back open, but they're not doing renovations. But that's really why they remain
So, right,
closed for
it's
so
certain
long.
renovation, I know with heavy equipment, sometimes electrical, it requires you to close it because you're putting folks in harm's way. But if that's not the case, city manager, my suggestion and request would be, and I'm quite sure all the commission may agree, that we need to open that up. If that still would allow work to be done to correct whatever electrical issues out there.
And do a duster down.
Well, if it doesn't interfere with any, you know, safety or work zones, et cetera, yeah, I don't see a problem with it. I have a
Okay.
discussion with Public Works tomorrow in Parks and Recreation, and, you know, I can't say tomorrow, but maybe within the next 48 hours.
Okay, because that's been a major request. I done heard that way too often. Okay.
All right.
That's
Just have to be
good.
still mindful of the COVID, though, you know, they still talks about the amount of people in one place. You just want to still keep that.
Yeah,
Hopefully
that'll still be there.
hopefully, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
hopefully there's
yeah,
signs or
yeah,
something.
Yeah, we can encourage.
Yeah,
I mean,
is there
you still
signs that you can
distancing
put
and all,
up,
but,
you know, that's all.
Yeah, we
Well,
can't
yeah.
use that
that-
as no more excuse, though.
No,
That
it should be
signage will
open.
be
I
there.
think it should be
Yeah,
open.
yeah.
Yeah, that signage will be there. Now, we can't, you
Yeah,
know, it's
I'm
not a
agreeing
law and
with
order
that.
mandate, but it'll be there. Just
Right.
advise people, you know, social distancing,
Right.
yeah, so.
And even when we put on our website, I mean, Facebook page, whatever is open, we're gonna encourage that. You know, the parks are open, but we're still encouraging
Yeah.
social distancing and proper hygienes and whatever we can do to curb this epidemic. The last question is the bathroom, restrooms out there. They are properly working and no problem?
Oh, yeah.
And they will be open during
Yes,
the park
yes,
opening?
8 to 8,
Okay, great.
yes.
All
Did we
right.
by any chance put some hand sanitizers or something, some kind of thing where they can, if they're at the pavilions, they can wash their hands and, or is there one somewhere in the
We have-
area?
We got several mobile hand sanitizer stands, the one you see in City Hall. We
Mm-hmm.
have several more of those that were given to us through the county. We can put some of those out there at the pavilions and even at the restrooms.
That might be
They're
a
all
good
around.
idea, because then
Yeah.
that way if they're at the tables and it's right
Yeah,
there,
we could put some of those out there.
encourage people to do it, to
Okay.
use them.
So that's gonna include the mayor's report. We're gonna go now into the city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor, Commission. I'm gonna try not to be long, because we've been here, and I know we have to wrap up before 9. We got one more item on the agenda. But I wanted to first say, we are coming to the end of the year for 2020. And I think we all can agree that this has been a different year for all of us here in the city of Pahokee and the county and the nation. And we certainly all have been challenged with what we've faced in this nation. And that doesn't exclude what we've been through here as a city. We've had some trying times here. And I can honestly say that, you know, I've learned to do some things better. I see that, you know, how we can work better together, but more so as a city manager. There are some things that I've had to change about day-to-day operations, documentation, of course, because it certainly has bitten me, you know, several times this year in how to ensure that we are being transparent and utilizing, you know, this position that you've given me appropriately. I think I said this a couple of months ago, that I have an open door policy, and if any citizen or resident has a question, I would love to sit down with them and help them understand if there's a misinformation out there, or you feel that, you know, I'm not doing something right, or if I've done something that has made you feel that we're not as professional or transparent or honest, I would like to have that conversation with that person, or invite them into City Hall and be very transparent with them. But more so, We have a really good staff here in the city of Pahokee. Overall, we're no different from any other city. We have challenges, but we have a very good staff, a professional staff. And we always are learning something new under this leadership. Even I'm learning from my staff under my own leadership how to be a better leader. From my perspective, I'm dedicated to this job, but I know there's a lot of questions about many things that we need to do better. And I'm going to continue to strive to do better in my job, so we don't have these types of conversations that we faced this past year, or the doubts that we currently still hear in this city. And I'm still pledging that to those who feel that things are not as they should be, that we sit down and we have those conversations to clear the air and be very transparent and show those individuals exactly where everything is in this city as far as administratively and how things operate. But I take ownership of some of those challenges that we've faced, and I'm certainly working hard to be a better city manager. So thank you for that opportunity. Mayor Commission, 2020 was a good year for the city of Pahokee when you talk about projects. And I want to take a moment to kind of, review what we've done this year. We demoed the old City Hall. That was an award of $350,000. We demoed the old hospital just recently. That was an award of $300,000. Land to be sold for private developer fairly soon. We've done about $2.3 million with the gymnasium, which we anticipate will open by mid-January into January with a grand opening. Thanks to the partnership with the county, we are able to bring back to this community an amenity that's been missing for about 12 years. We've resurfaced all the streets in Shive Island this year. That was a $210,000 project through glaze resurfacing. We cleared a long-term debt to FEMA, which was about $55,000, and that debt was owed back from 2008-2009 storm. We were awarded a new transportation bus in this year. That bus is at a value of $135,000. And so that's a new transportation bus in Parks and Recreation. We were awarded recently $80,000 in additional blighted demolition funds for the city of Pahokee, our fourth consecutive year that we've been able to achieve that. We also, tomorrow, and I'm going to check, but tomorrow our bid goes out for Barfield Highway. And that's a $4.3 million reconstruction project that will take place here in the city of Pahokee. So I anticipate by late January into February, we'll be making a decision on that contractor to begin work here in the city of Pahokee. One last project, East Lake Village, that we've talked about. There was just a little hiccup with the scope. We've got that clarified. I don't know if that bid will make it out. Well, I'm going to project it will make it out by the end of this year, and we'll be looking at a bid to approve. We're looking at a contract to approve that project when we get back after all of the holidays are said and done as well. So that's our projects, and I probably missed one somewhere. But new businesses, and these are structural new businesses in the city of Pahokee. Mama's Place, Rodriguez Barbershop, I hope I pronounced that right. Quick Stop that just opened up about 4 weeks ago. The Winners Arcade, which is an arcade for kids. I don't know if any kids are going in there, and I think it's right beside Mama's Place. That's it's an arcade, a video arcade for kids. That opened up on Bacon Point Road. More importantly, something that kind of flew under the radar is Dignity Healing LLC out here on State Market Road. They are employing close to 50 people on 2 shifts. So that's good to know. Bussy Enterprises, and they also run, I think, a Prime America business out of that location as well. Those are the hard structure businesses that opened in the city of Pahokee this past year. Home-based businesses, We Don't Fit LLC, Old Harvey Group LLC, KP Pressure Cleaning and Washing LLC, Williams Family Better Home Services, LLC, Sunshine Sweeps, and also Legacy Construction Multi-Services. Those are home-based businesses that apply for business license in the city of Pahokee. We don't have the high-rise structures going up yet, but we've had some businesses that open up here in 2020. And I want to thank those businesses here tonight for coming to Pahokee and making this their home. So there's some successes here, Mayor, Commission, that we can point to that I think, we can look at the negative, but we got some good successes here. I think we got a good group that's working for the city of Pahokee as elected officials. We appreciate your support. I appreciate all of my staff. I want to thank Ms. Polanco here. Hopefully I can address her not sitting here soon. But she's worked tirelessly hard for the city, and as a city clerk or standing in trying to help me keep that office afloat as well as run building planning and zoning. She needs to be recognized. She has been compensated for that, but she needs to be publicly recognized for all of her hard work. But overall, Mayor, we can hang our hat on some successes this year, and you got many more coming in some of these upcoming projects and developments here in the city of Pahokee. I want to speak on another housing project, but it's a private developer. We're just doing the planning right now, and we got to come back and do the zoning for that as well. It's a big housing project that is moving forward, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. But it looks like it's going to be coming soon. But we got to get through a rezoning with that as well. So I want to wait and see, what's next in the steps for that as far as the zoning is concerned. And I know they need to get funding because they're a private developer, but that's something huge in the city of Pahokee that I hope will kick off sometime early spring, late spring, hopefully. So that's it. Thank you very much for 2020 fiscal year.
Thank you, City Manager. City Attorney, any report?
Other than say, I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season, and I wish everybody a new year, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We have enjoyed working with the city, and thank you all for your support. We try to operate in a spirit of excellence, which sometimes needs a couple more steps, but it's a pleasure working with the city, and I hope all of you have a very enjoyable holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you. And ditto from the City Commission. Thank you.
Can I ask the city attorney a question?
Yes, Commissioner Bolden.
City attorney, do we have any resolution on 246 East Main Street?
Other than we've had a mediation that has continued, and at the appropriate time, if there is a change, what we will do is speak with the city in a closed door session, with the city commissioners in a closed door session, and communicate any change. Right now, there's nothing to report.
Okay. Thank you. Now we'll move to our old business, which we don't have anything for old business on the agenda tonight. New business, we had an add-on of 2 items. The first item is the status of our city clerk, city manager.
Mayor, thank you. Can you hear me on this mic? Okay. Previously, at the last meeting, I said we had received some good candidates for city clerk. They were taken through the HR process. The prerequisites were indicated. We ran their references, looked at their qualifications. I actually had an opportunity to sit down with these particular candidates, who were well qualified, by the way. I think you were given their resumes previously that were well qualified. And so I had an interview with both of them. One has 10 years plus experience, master city clerk. The other one has worked in the position of city clerk for several years and has been in municipality work for probably more, for nearly 15 years, 15 plus years. So one candidate one is highly interested in being the city clerk. She indicated what her salary request was. Candidate two was also highly interested in being the city clerk. She later, after interviewing, thought about, the distance where she lived versus Pahokee, and she removed her name from the candidacy for this position. However, candidate one remains strongly interested and has committed to working for the city of Pahokee if so desired by this commission to hire her as the next city clerk. With the experience that candidate one has, that's a person that'll hit the ground running day one. So tonight, my recommendation, and is certainly your option, with Ms. Tina Stinson as a candidate here, it's your option to, one, take my recommendation that we move forward with Ms. Stinson, or if you would like to set up and speak with her as well, that's your option as well to do that as a commission. She is your hire. Works under the day-to-day of the city manager, but this is your hire and your city clerk. And it's your guidance that will decide if we move forward with Ms. Stinson as the city clerk. It's my recommendation that we do move forward with her as the next city clerk for the city of Pahokee. We're at a critical time. We haven't had a clerk for 8 months. I've been trying to juggle some of my responsibilities, so has Ms. Polanco, in trying to keep the office afloat. But we're at a critical time where we got an election that's coming up, and we need someone that's dedicated every day to those deadlines for that election and who understands it, inside and out. And both candidates have worked in the election process, and I'm very familiar with it. So we need a city clerk. But again, the options here are for this commission to make a decision with Ms. Stinson being considered and hired as your city clerk.
Couple of questions. Is she a certified clerk?
Not yet. She was working on that particular certification when there was an interruption in her employment with that current city.
Okay. What was the pay advertised? I know her pre-interview indicating she would accept between 60 and 65 that we put on the RFP, the job request. What was that? Because the reason I'm asking. Go ahead on.
I don't know if it was the 52 that we posted. I would have to check the advertisement, what HR put out. I can't recall right now. It could have said negotiable, but I don't want to say without referring to what it was at that time when we advertised it.
Okay.
We did advertise it. However, we sent it to Palm Beach League of Cities. I think that's what got us these really good candidates, because we sent it to the League of Cities and reached out to some other city clerks in that organization.
As I can recall, the last set of job applicants, one did include a previous city clerk, Ms. Warner, and I believe the reason she declined because she wanted a little addition to what we was offering, which was, I think, 52. I believe she was requesting, if I'm not mistaken, 55, which is 5,000 less than this applicant, plus she's a certified clerk. So if we're willing to pay 60 or 65 to a non-certified clerk who have some clerk experience but as a deputy clerk, we may need to even reach back out to Ms. Warner based on the review of these applications of this resume. And that's another concern. We don't have the actual application. We only receive resumes, and I would like to also receive the application and resumes of all the candidates. I know that I think you and HR did a great job, should be commended on that, and then went further than that to give a recommendation, which is up to the commission to accept or reject. But it would be our decision on who we hire. So to be able to do that and compare your recommendation with the actual applications along with the
You mean-
resume would be
You mean
helpful.
the application they filled out when they come to City Hall?
Yes.
Oh, okay. This is a
Yes.
little bit more detailed than that. The application is less detailed. than
Yeah, but
the
I look
resume.
at always, I never personally had an interview that I didn't look myself at the application along with the resumes. I agree it probably is a little more detailed, but that application can give you a lot of good background that you may not pick up on a resume. And lastly, the phone numbers, I'm not sure why that's struck out.
It
It's
came
not,
from-
it's not a
I think that's
confidentiality.
an HR thing. It came out of HR like that for some reason. I'd have to ask them, but that's an HR practice, I guess, until something is
Yeah, what I'm saying
solidified.
is not confidential. Even if someone publicly got a hold to it, it's not something you would confidentially exclude on
No, you can
something.
you can remove phone numbers.
You can
in public
remove it, I'm
records
saying
requests,
it's not
yeah.
confidential. You're giving it to
Right.
the city commission.
Right.
It's different if you're handing out to the public. So if we wanted a follow-up conversation, if that was needed, at least we'll have the ability to reach out and do that. So those are my just quick assessment and quick question.
How many applicants did we get?
If I'm not mistaken, you got 4. One was a cashier, I believe, if I can recall. One was a counselor. She actually came in and wanted to interview for Parks and Recreation. And then you got these 2 applications.
Any local one? Any one from the Glaze?
Yeah, 2 of them were local from the Glaze area. I think one was Clewiston, and one was Belglade.
I
Ms. Stinson?
have to agree with the mayor. I mean, to pay more money and get somebody who is not certified, and that we've got to send back to school to get certified when
Well, you wouldn't be sending her
hired
back.
somebody and said, yes, we would take Miss Warner back, and then
You-
now we don't, all we need to do is give her some more money, and we've got a certified somebody we don't have to send to school.
Well, you aren't literally sending her to school. How they get their certifications is they have to go and attend their conferences.
Yeah, but she's not
And-
certified is what I'm saying.
Correct, but she's very
Yeah.
close to being certified. It's limited fiscal that we would have to input into her because she's already been a city clerk for so long. She was actually at the point of being certified, and they had a major budget interruption in that particular city, and they had to release that particular city, this city clerk, and give it. I don't want to go into that, but they had a major interruption in their revenue,
Right.
and she would have been probably certified by the end of this year had she not been released in this end of this budget year. I think in September when the city made a decision to reduce their staff.
I guess my concern always is that every time we go to hire somebody, we have one to choose from, always. It's not 3 or 4 or 5. In an economy where people are out of employment and there has to be hundreds of these people that
Well,
are available.
We're
We're not even seeing 5.
Well, here's the thing, and I agree with you. This is why it's hard to.
So are
when
we
you're
not
looking for good
advertising it
people-
correctly?
When you're looking for good people, they're not necessarily always here. And I agree with you because we had other city clerks that inquired and then they thought about the travel, and they didn't even submit. So, and I know those folks, and so you had one good one. You had one good one here, Miss Munchick. Great, interviewed great, master city clerk. Drove out, interviewed, drove back home, thought about it and said, you know what, the hour drive, I don't want to do the hour drive. So it's a challenge, to find that
Okay.
type of talent pool.
My
So-
question is, are we advertising on the city clerk's website that they have, don't the city clerks have an organization, association, and you can advertise on there for a
We
city
did.
clerk?
We did.
We did.
That's how we got these
That's all
great
over the
resumes.
state of Florida.
Huh? Yeah, I call Florida City League of Cities and
Okay.
Palm Beach League of Cities.
Okay.
That's how we got these great folks. And I even called some of the city clerks that I know and other local citizens, hey, do you know a deputy city clerk? Let them know this position is open. And I got some recommendations, but then they thought about the drive and they didn't even submit. So we had several interested city clerks who didn't even submit just because of the distance.
Was it on Indeed.com?
I can't recall. I'd ask HR.
LinkedIn.com?
I would have to ask HR.
Because those are like the two places people go to get a job. So
Well,
if we're
again,
not advertising there, we're really not putting it out there for everybody to come in my opinion.
Well,
I
again,
agree
you
with
know,
the
this
mayor.
is just.
I think we need to
This is a good
call Ms.
candidate,
Warner and ask her
and
to
it's-
come
it's
in
up to you
and
guys.
interview as well.
It's up to the commission to do that. This is a really good candidate that has committed not only to working for us, but, you know, doesn't live here, but committed to driving in from,
It's not
right
that
at
far.
Loxahatchee, on the other side of Loxahatchee is where her address is located. So, but it is, again, up to the city
20
commission on
minutes.
how you want to move forward. If you want to, you know, try to set up another date to do a Zoom interview with this particular candidate as well get the applications that the mayor has referenced, it's certainly your pleasure to do that as well.
Any comments from the other commissioners on your
Do we
thought?
even know if Ms. Warner even available? You know, she's a school teacher right now. It's not that she's not working. So,
But
She said that when I congratulated her, when I called her to say congratulations, you know, we voted last night to hire you, and she was like, I hope you up the money, because I told the city manager that wasn't enough money, and
what was she
And
given?
that's exactly
What
what
was
she
she
said.
proposed?
Well, you know, it's
Well,
great I
we
keep
have
text
taken
messages and
52,000.
and things that people communicate. That's not what happened. And I don't want to go back through that process with Tijuana, but there was a salary offered. She accepted that salary. You then got to approve that hire. And then a couple of days later, she decided that she didn't want to take the job. That's how that happened.
I mean, I'm just going by what she told
But
me.
I
No,
guess
no,
the
I understand.
concern- I guess
But
the
I mean,
concern
we're
is how
at
much
a
was she
critical point.
offered?
We can't go back and try to
much
figure out
was
what
she-
happened.
How
there.
much was the salary offer then?
I don't know. What did we offer her? What the
'Cause it was
budget
in the
was
50s, wasn't it?
52.5.
Yeah, it was- yeah.
52.
So I
budget's
guess the
55.
concern and the question is she was offered 52, but now just looking at skimming through the resumes, one was offered like 60 and the other one
Well, she wasn't offered that.
75.
She said she would come for 60.
Yeah, and the other one
26 and
wanted what,
65.
70
And the other
or
one wanted
something?
70, but of course, but she's a master city clerk,
Wow.
you know, that's been in the business for, you know, over a decade or more. So, but no, we didn't offer her 60. She said that she would come for 60.
Yeah, and again, I'm going back to the vice mayor, which, because I wasn't saying that, I'm not sure if she's willing or not, but I was saying it's worth at least the effort to extend that offer,
invitation.
consideration, if we're paying another person higher than what we offered her. So I would offer her, for instance, the 60,000. Would she accept that? I'm quite sure she probably would, because I believe what we offered her was what we advertised it, and it was like at $52,000.
Right.
Maybe 55 at the most, but I believe it was 52. So if you go and give her, say, 57 or 60,000, I'm sure, and she lived locally here, she would probably accept it. If not, we can move on to this particular one, because we know we have this, and or try to interview them
Interview them
both if
both.
need
Why
to.
not interview
Yeah.
them both? Yeah, and that
Yeah,
way
both
we
would
can
accept
compare.
to do an interview.
Right.
Yeah.
We just want a city clerk. Yeah, we'll do whatever the commission pleasure. I mean, we are at a critical point. I mean, if you want to set up interviews, we certainly can do that. If you want me to call Ms. Warner, I'll reach back out to
Yeah,
her
my
tomorrow.
recommendation, and it's just mine, and it's not a vote, would be to reach back out to Ms. Warner, see if she's, would consider, we would consider increasing her pay up to 60,000, but she would need to do an interview with the commission, as well as maybe having this particular candidate also interview with us. So we can set up a Zoom interview at some point with both of those candidates. We can make a choice. At least we have two people we can choose from versus
A
only
real
having
Zoom where we
one.
can see them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
Not,
And if
not
that
on the
person
phone, I'm
denies, we're
talking
back to
about.
square one.
If both deny, right?
We're back to square one.
Yeah, if both do, but we at least have, some, I mean, she wasn't offered the job, she know that more than likely she would have to have an interview
Of course
with the
she'd have to
commission
hire-
anyway.
We're
So
not
that
gonna
was
hire
just
somebody
another
without an
step.
interview.
No,
Right.
I mean, my conversation, I told her, you know, I supported her being here in the city of Pahokee, but it's not my decision
Right.
to make. It's up
Right.
to the city
Right.
commission.
Right.
She did indicate that she was, you know, had other offers, and, you know, if this didn't work out, she'd be taking another
Okay.
offer.
So what we need
So-
to do
Set it
is
up quick.
set up our Zoom interview as soon as we,
Yeah.
you know, can.
So
It's-
when we
it's
do
gonna
that,
be
Mayor,
remotely,
since the
so it
next
shouldn't be a
meeting out to
problem.
January,
Huh?
remember, when we do that, our
Have
next
to do a
meeting out to
special call.
January.
You just have to have a
and then-
special
You
meeting.
have to
We
have
can have a
a
special meeting,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna do it Zoom, I mean, I don't wanna infringe on anybody. You know, if we got to do a Zoom, I mean, it's not like we have to
Zoom,
come
be all of
here.
us on Zoom, or
Because it's
they on
not like
Zoom or
we
we
have to
here?
come here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We here or they're on Zoom, or all of us
everybody on Zoom. You could do everybody on Zoom if you wanted.
And now that we have open and live public meeting, we just have to clarify with the city attorney whether that's gonna be fine to conduct our interview by Zoom.
Well, that's an interview.
It's an interview, but it's still,
It's a public
well,
meeting.
She's
Let's-
saying
let's
something now.
live
Go ahead,
this.
attorney.
Yes, if you all are not making a decision and you're, putting it on, doing that in an interview, it's just an interview, I think that would be, fine due to, COVID. It's not, a city commission meeting, you're not voting. Trainings are happening via Zoom with commissions, for ethics and other things. So I see that as something similar, and I don't think that would, be a violation.
Okay. So my recommendation, city manager, would be to contact Mrs. Warren, see if we can get an interview with both her and this candidate. We'll set up a time frame and set up a Zoom that we can do that. And then at our next commission meeting, we can make a decision if we have both. If we only have one, then we'll
But-
just have to choose from there.
I thought he was saying something.
No, I'm
Okay.
just looking at the timeline of, I'm looking at it, I'm fine with what you recommended. I'm just looking at.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
I'll reach out to, Ms. Warner. And I'll reach out to Ms. Stinson and let her know that we'll be setting up a date. Once I get a confirmed date from the commission, I'll probably call you individually tomorrow and get a date for a Zoom, and then I'll let them know. And I'll let you know if she's
And
still interested as well.
If you did a background check on these two, correct? Can we have a copy of that?
When you say background, you mean references, et cetera? You
No,
don't
a
get, the
background
background
check.
doesn't happen until you actually hire, and then they run it. She runs it right when the decision is made to hire. Everything we did was references, job references, talk to the former employees, talk to their references they provided, professional, personal references, did our job checks, et cetera. They had certifications, we ran those checks as well. Educational certifications, we ran those checks. Background is not done until you made the official hire, then they run the background as well. Something comes back, it comes back to that employer before that hire comes on board, because there's always a 2-week
Okay,
delay.
so can we get copies of that?
If there's a background run, yes, ma'am.
No, on whatever y'all did.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, y'all, we only have about 2 or 3 minutes left, so we're gonna deal with our last order of business. We're gonna skip some of this just a little. The next order of business is the cancellation of the December 22nd commission meeting. I would entertain a motion and a second if that's the desire.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to offer a motion that we entertain cancellation of city commission meetings, date, December 22nd, 2020.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Everett and properly second by Vice Mayor Mervin for the cancellation of our December 22nd meeting, commission meeting and workshop. Call for questions.
I have one question. We canceled the one in November, but you canceled it and we didn't vote on it. So why do we have to vote, or do we not have to vote to cancel meetings?
Yeah,
Or you
it's-
can just I'm just trying to clarify.
Yeah, cause we're required to have only one, but a city, mayor could cancel a meeting if there are no official business that need to be taken care of, no resolution, no anything that require approval. And if we're here in session, it's always proper to have the commission as a whole council.
Thank you.
No additional question, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill, and Mayor Bell.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by unanimous decision. The December 22nd meeting will be canceled. Future agenda item, we're gonna add the city manager contract as on the old business on our next agenda. For the good of order, we're gonna bypass that. 9 o'clock, we're required by our little ordinance to end our meeting at 9. I'd like to entertain.
It's one, and I know due to COVID, I just got notice today from a resident. I didn't know Miss Bush had passed away over 3 weeks ago. It wasn't brought to I didn't know that.
What
So,
Bush?
Miss Becky Bush's mother.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I don't know any of the commission or anyone knew of that, but it was brought to my attention today from her. So I don't know. Now, normally we do a resolution for, because I know she, from her statement, I guess she served in the city at least 2 years in past years. And if I'm not mistaken, she was one of our, for the, what you call it, when we have out in the cemetery. Well, she was one of our residents of our,
What
The
cemetery
storm of
committee?
2000, I'm
Oh,
gonna
the
say the
storm of
1928.
Yeah, yeah.
1928.
yeah,
Right.
that. So if we can probably, when we get back or so, just have a resolution made up for Mrs.
Okay,
Miss
we'll
Bush
just
in
have
this
to reach
process.
out through the city clerk or one of the commissioners to get the information to include in the resolution, but you can put forth a motion. for
I'd like
us
to make a
uh,
motion that we will rectify a resolution for Mrs. Bush.
Second.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Mervin and properly second by Commissioner Everett that we provide a resolution for Mrs. Bush as soon as we have the information that
And
we
I
can
can
do.
try to reach out to her.
Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Commissioner Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill, and Mayor Bell.
Yes, thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commission. Motion passed by unanimous vote. I'd like to entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'd like to make a motion that we will adjourn this meeting.
Second.
It has
Merry
been moved
Christmas to everybody.
by Commissioner Vice Mayor Mervin, second by Commissioner Everett for the adjournment of the meeting. Call for question. Hearing none. Ready for a vote. Roll call, Madam Clerk. Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Commissioner Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill, Mayor Bell.
Yes. Meeting